Hello, I'm Daniel and I have struggled with managing my body weight for literally my entire life. So right from being a child to being a teenager to where I'm at right now in my early 30s, almost fully grown up. I've fluctuated from being slim, fit and healthy and active to somewhere in the middle, some might want to call it like a dad bod sort of physique, right to the upper end of the scale of being obese. And I've struggled at various points along that journey, and right about now I find myself sliding towards the obese end of that scale. I'm in a bit of a pickle and I'm taking some serious action to try and resolve this. This is video 1 of a 7-part series in which I'm hoping to try and resolve this. I'm going to take you along for the journey. Now, it might sound a bit extreme me saying I'm in a pickle and I'm putting a video on a YouTube channel in which I constantly talk about all the cycling and running and swimming I'm doing, but please bear with me because there's more to it than that. Now, having massive fluctuations in weight, so for example, I've gone from being 78, 79 kilos as an adult all the way up to 127, I don't think is normal. So whether it's caused by genetics, whether it's caused by behavior, I don't know, but however it's caused, it causes me problems every single day. And so I just wanted to say, if talking about weight causes you problems, I perhaps urge you to not watch this video. I would really hope that you're going to get something from this because you are not alone if you are struggling. But this is a heads up, this is going to contain topics about weight and weight management that you might find sensitive. As per normal on this channel, this is not a how-to. I am not an expert in this regard. All I'm going to be doing is sharing with you the situation I'm in, the mess that I'm in, and how I'm trying to get myself out of it. So what I'm going to do is exactly this. I'm going to be putting myself out there in a vulnerable way because I do genuinely feel vulnerable. This topic does cause me genuine upset and stress and concern, but I'm putting it out there in the hope that you, the viewers, might get something from it because I know that so many people struggle with this sort of thing, and if I can be of any help in any way, then job well done. Also, me making a video about this really helps me out. It helps me commit to a process. It helps me remain accountable, and hopefully it's going to help me get out of this pickle that I find myself in right now. I'm not looking for sympathy or excuses, I'm just sharing the journey. So at the time of recording, this is mid-February of 2025. These videos will come out in a little while. So let me just summarize my weight loss journey in 30 seconds. Now, as a child, I think I was a pretty normal child in terms of weight. And then in my early teens, I was quite overweight, wasn't really very active. When I was 13, 14, 15, and I'm so very grateful for it now, didn't like it at the time, but my dad took me and my sister along to running club, swimming club. We became active children. It took a little while. Absolutely hated it to begin with, but I'm so grateful now that he did because I was then able, by the time I was 17, 18, I was a normal guy. I was on the school football team, like I was, doing cross-country running and all those sorts of things that active children, active teenagers do, and that to me then felt normal. And then when I got into sixth form, the social crowd changes a little bit, started going out on a Thursday night, then a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, on the drink, etc., eating rubbish. And over the course of the next couple of years throughout my studies, and then also when I then got a desk job, my weight just ballooned, which meant that in 2013, I got up to 127 kilos, which from about 78, 79 kilos is a massive, massive rise. Obviously my body had developed a little bit during that time as well, but most of this was just fat. So I knew I needed to do something. I was obese, massively overweight. I got back into running, swimming, cycling. That's where my triathlon journey started. And then over the course of, it took about 5 years, I got down to, again, 78, 79 kilos. That was in about 2018, 2019. That journey took a long time, a lot of hard work, a lot of different diets, a lot of exercise, but I eventually got there. The line is not linear. It is, like a shark's tooth, but I got down to there. 2019 was a good year. I was at my physically most fit on paper, I think. Going into 2020, of course, we had the COVID pandemic, lockdowns, working from home. I was nowhere near as active. My bad diet tendencies crept in again, sweets from the shop, takeaways, all those sorts of things. And since then, I've just gradually put weight on. Again, it's not been a linear line, it's been up and down, but mostly up. Couple of kilos here or there. I'm a little bit heavier than I was last time. I'll buy an extra large t-shirt instead of a large t-shirt. But that's essentially meant that I went from 78, 79 up to 90 kilos in 2023. 2024, I got up to 100. And then now in February of 2025, I'm 104.6 kilos, which is clearly a lot heavier than I have been previously. Now, I have been happy at various points along that line. I've also been very unhappy at various points along that line. So how has that happened? Well, there's no one big reason, I don't think. If I had to pick the biggest reason, it's that I struggle with control. In all areas of my life, I actually think I have some like ADHD tendencies or display some ADHD behaviors. I've never been diagnosed or gone through any of that, but there's definitely some things that I think, that looks like what I've read about online. And I think food is one of those. So I'd always eat everything of one thing. So a bar of chocolate, it's all gone. I don't know, kebab, it's all gone. You know, like I struggle to exercise restraint during those times. I'm not an alcoholic. It wasn't like I was addicted to anything or constantly like getting the same thing that's bad food. It was just a culmination of lots of little bad decisions and bad habits and bad routines. I'm quite habitual, that's led me to this day. Now, some of the effects that this has had on me, and I'm genuinely not looking for sympathy, I'm just sharing with you what's happened to me over the last few years, but I have quite frequent headaches. I have bad breakouts of bad skin. I get mouth ulcers quite frequently. I'm generally quite stressed because I'm always thinking about my weight and that I'm not happy with it. I'm often a bit too snappy with Liz, my other half. She absorbs far too much, and all of those things can't go on. Stress has a massive effect on the body. I don't want to become an unpleasant person to be around. I don't want to be miserable or stressed about my weight all the time. This needs to change. As well as being a normal guy, or as normal as can be, you're probably thinking this guy isn't normal watching this video. I take part in the sport of triathlon, so I swim, bike and run. Love the sport, love the training. I'm very lucky that I have quite a few friends locally that also like the sport, but the reality is that I'm not fit enough now to ride or run or swim really with any of my friends, particularly cycling. I live in Derbyshire in the Peak District. It's brilliant, it's picturesque, loads of hills, looks great, but I cannot ride up a hill with my friends because I am a lot heavier than them and I just can't ride with them. It's okay to make light of it and we sort of joke about it and they wait for me and so on, that's fine, but it does genuinely get me down that every single ride, I'm the one whinging this a bit too fast or you're riding a bit too hard, when actually the problem lies with me in that I am not anywhere near fit enough, and it's not really just fitness, it is purely weight. I'm also lucky enough to have this YouTube channel, right? So I'm posting videos all the time about me doing all these activities, and I've just slowly watched myself over the last few years as the channel has gained traction, thank you very much. I've slowly got into a worse place, and I'm constantly looking back at footage of myself doing these things and I'm not happy with how I look. I'm never really posting much, particularly on Instagram, because I never like how I look in cycling kit or running or from events, and I feel like it's such a shame because I want to share what I'm doing to try and motivate and inspire other people, but I just don't feel like I want to. I also hear the whispers and pick up on things people say with in regards to what I do and the shape I'm in, and this guy's got a YouTube channel and he's got sponsors, and look at him, and can he really do these events they're saying he's going to do, and all of that. And I'm quite thick-skinned in that I can brush quite a lot of that off, but in times when you're not feeling the best, those things do hurt you more, and it is, some of it is just perhaps just voices in my head, but I've definitely had a few, the odd message and comment and so on, and those stick with you. So I've had to break down what my goal is. What do I actually want to get to? If I feel like, I want to get down to 78 kilos again, it's just such a massive task to get back to that it's never going to happen. So in 2023, I was 90 kilos in body weight. I did challenge Roth in under 10 hours. The performance of my life, really. Had a great year racing bikes, riding with friends and so on. So that, to me, in my mind now, is the number to aim for. Sure, I'd love to be ripped and have a six-pack and all of that, but I just don't think that is reasonable as a target, or definitely not achievable as a target. So that's the plan. I want to get back to where I was then, not just because of the number, but also because of how I felt during that time. I could ride with my friends. I was racing just at an amateur level, but able to race, able to take part in these things and be relevant. So that's the aim. It's not to be the best I've ever been. It's not to break any records. It's just to get back to a position where I'm not constantly stressed about my weight. But that is still a massive challenge. Circa 15 kilos of body weight, hopefully fat, to lose before this summer is a huge task. I have events lined up. I have cool partners lined up for events. I've got video projects committing several £1,000s to covering said events. And I just don't feel like I want to do any of that, or like I can do any of that in the current situation that I'm in. So this has to happen. So initially, I know I have this big goal of getting back down to 90 kilos. I've got to break it down. 7 weeks. It is 7 weeks until Liz and I go to Mallorca for a week of cycling in the sun. Brilliant. Anybody should be looking forward to that. I'm actually not, because all I'm thinking is I can't fit in my cycling kit. I can't ride up a hill very well because I'm so heavy. If I'm going to go swimming, oh, I don't like how I look. Like, it's just all these things in my mind, and what a first world problem, right? I get to go on holiday with my bikes, with my girlfriend, like, what's to moan about? I get that, but that's just how I feel. So I'm breaking it down in my head, 7 weeks. I need to have the best 7 weeks I've ever had, like diet and fitness and health wise, in order to set me up to stand any sort of chance of being in good enough shape to do the things that I'm doing later this year. A couple of Ironman triathlons, gravel events, and just being happy and healthy. So here we go. So that's the plan. I have 7 weeks to get into significantly better shape than I am now. When we're in Mallorca, I'm very lucky to be able to be in contact with a couple of pro triathletes out there to be able to like make some videos with, go and do some training with. And at the minute, I feel like it is completely disrespectful for me to turn up in the shape that I'm in now and expect any of these people to do any sort of training with me. I need to be better. So how I'm breaking down the goals for the next 7 weeks is that I would like to lose 7 kilos of fat or weight, whatever it is. And how I'm going to do that is because this is a maths challenge. It's a physical challenge, it's a mental challenge, but it's also a maths challenge. So 1 kilo of body fat is 7,700 calories. So I need to be in roughly a 1,100 calorie deficit per day. This is dealt with in several ways. This is dealt with in the kitchen by eating the right food and not too much of it. It's dealt with in my training room and outside doing training and activity to create a calorie deficit. Now, this is probably on the upper end of what is reasonable or sustainable, but I cannot do what is reasonable and sustainable. I'm not in that position. I need to be able to do what is extreme to be able to get to where I need to be, because I've tried reasonable and sustainable. I've tried losing weight all this year. I've had more day ones and one last treats and one last takeaways than I was going to say that I've had hot dinners, but I think those numbers are pretty similar, to be honest. And I just need to really fully focus, and this is my like only aim at the minute, is to drop this weight. So I'm going to be using some tools that I've got available to me. So like MyFitnessPal, I'm going to be logging everything I'm eating on there and exercise and so on. I'm going to be taking advice and guidance where relevant. I'm going to be using everybody I know to get out and do as much training as I can and be as active as I can and really try and track this. But what I'm also going to do is I'm committing to sharing this journey with you. Not just the good bits, not just the highlights. I'm going to share with you everything that happens during that time. Not everything, it's been a long ass video. This is video 1 of 7, so I'm going to have 7 weeks of like, this is what has been happening. This is just sort of the overview one. And these will obviously come out behind time, so this will be a couple of months after I've recorded this that you'll be seeing this now. So anyway, I've rambled on enough. Hopefully that gives you a good overview, and I was going to say I cannot wait to get stuck in. I've actually waited until day 5 of this challenge already before I've even recorded this video, because as I say, I've had more day ones than I care to remember. Come on, let's do it. And I know this community is awesome, so thank you very much in advance for the support, which I'm sure there is. I'm just so focused now and I need to do this, so let's go.